loses the bomb's power and
neck, even with the 7th
explosive projectile to be...
Hello Team Wismer. This is the first video in a series of videos that I'll be recording as an opportunity to discuss different things happening at White Sands. The first topic I want to discuss in this series is inclement weather. As you all know, we closed the installation January 22nd. So I'd like to talk about the process of how we make a decision to delay or close the installation, and then discuss the specifics of what happened on January 22nd. Our weather team gives me an update as soon as they see a weather pattern headed our way that may cause us problems. From that point on, myself, the garrison commander, and our Directorate of Emergency Services are monitoring the weather to include the White Sands police officers who drive up to the St. Augustine Pass on every hour. We also work with the New Mexico Department of Transportation, State Police, Municipal Resources, and the Las Cruces Public Schools. My goal is to make a decision by 4 a.m. because I know that several of you live up to an hour or more away from your work locations. A delay or closure at White Sands will be disseminated through ad hoc, Facebook, and the Wismer website, as well as on local TV and radio stations. The quickest updates to the situation will come from ad hoc, which means it's important for you to keep those updated, and for Facebook. We will also run White Sands school delay and closure information on these outlets, even though they may be different from the Post, since our schools fall under Las Cruces Public Schools. Okay, now let's talk about what happened on January 22nd. Our weather professionals informed us that a snowstorm was headed our way, and we began monitoring that storm very closely through the night. Visual reports from our police officers checking the pass, as well as the New Mexico Department of Transportation, indicated that there was light snow, but roads were safe to drive as long as individuals exercise appropriate caution. At approximately 5:30 that morning, the reports began to indicate the conditions were worsening. I knew by that time that several people had already begun their drive into work, or some were already at their workstations. But in order to stop everyone else from driving in, I made the decision to implement a 2-hour delay. Some people may ask, why not just make a 2-hour delay decision every time that there's a storm headed our way? Well, this was the 4th storm that was supposed to have hit White Sands over the past 2 months. The other 3 storms never showed up. Weather's not an exact science, and I have to rely on our monitoring to actually make the calls about delays and closures, not just a weather report. Additionally, not everyone comes the same way to work. Just because one route's difficult or closed, we may not close the entire post. Once the 2-hour delay expired, all of our incoming information was pointing toward us being open for business. While the conditions were not great, the New Mexico Department of Transportation had not closed the pass, and based on our observations, the route remained passable as long as people exercised appropriate caution and reduced their speeds. Unexpectedly, at about 8:45 a.m., we received 3 pieces of news that impacted my decision. First, we had a report that a semi-trailer had blocked part of Highway 70. We also received news that the New Mexico Department of Transportation lost the ability to keep the San Augustine Pass clear due to mechanical difficulties with their plow and sanding truck. And based on these 2 factors, conditions on the road were worsening. Due to this group of issues, the New Mexico Department of Transportation temporarily closed the pass, which caused us to close the installation for the rest of the day. The National Weather Service said that the last time that much snow fell here on White Sands was 20 years ago. The sequence of events on January 22nd made for a difficult day. We made the best decisions we could based on the information available at that time. As I mentioned, weather's not an exact science, and there are sometimes factors that are out of our control. What I'd like to emphasize throughout this experience is that if you ever feel like it's unsafe to drive, please take the personal responsibility to call your supervisor, discuss your situation, and if necessary, turn around and go home. We would never want to put you in a dangerous position, whether or not the post was open or closed. You should also plan ahead to give yourself some extra time to get to work so you can slow down. Always wear your seatbelt and drive safely. We have people who commute into Wismer from as far away as Truth or Consequences, Ruidoso, and the far east side of El Paso. We cannot always make inclement weather decisions for everyone who is traveling throughout southern New Mexico and northwest Texas, but you know what is safe and should make that call. At the end of the day, my top concern is the safety of the people who live and work at White Sands Missile Range. I will continue to make decisions about inclement weather to the best of my ability. Thank you for watching, and please tune in for more of these videos. If you have an idea for a topic that you would like for me to discuss, please email Aaron Dorrance at our Public Affairs office.